Welcome to the 3Haunted podcast, where we bring you all things horror, supernatural, folklore, mythology, and all things that go bump in the night.
What's up, everybody? This is your co-host, Ashley Lunar Goddess, Gorilla Girl filmmaker and horror-loving cinephile. I'm just your average podcast-producing badass.
And I'm John Thomas. If it's haunted, cursed, or just plain weird, I'm into it. From paranormal encounters to horror movie deep dives, urban legends, cryptids, count me in.
I'm BJ Sewura, an aspiring paranormal musician who plays live for the dead because the living just doesn't want to hear me.
What's up, ghouls, gals, and those of you still breathing? Tonight, we're digging into the horror genre that didn't just scare us, it changed what terror is. Zombies. The ones that rot, the ones that run, and the ones that refuse to stay dead. We're not making it through this alone. Joining us in the bunker, special returning guest Nazeeh Tarsha. Let's hope he made it here uninfected. So board up the windows, grab something sharp, and don't make a sound. They're at the door, and they're hungry. Welcome back, Nazombeeh.
Hey. Glad to be back. Man. What an intro. I love that. Although I'm also terrified, people grabbing sharp pointy objects and like, oh man.
I mean, after what we just watched, you're lucky all I have is a sharp pointy object. So
True. Very, very true.
So the question is, are you infected?
No. Or am I lying? Am I one of which kind of individual am I? Am I the person who exposes myself? Am I the one who
that's
cares
a different film genre.
Oh, you're right. Wrong kind of infection. Sorry. No,
He's contagious.
He's contagious.
Oh,
Gosh.
man. So this has been a long time coming. We're 6 seasons in, and we're just starting to talk about zombie films outside of that one zombie episode we did. But that was more on the could zombies be real and what are zombies? But this is part 1 of our zombies special, where we are going to be talking about serious zombie films. So I know I cultivated the list with the help from you guys. We picked 4 because 4 is a lot when we get us together. in a good way. We can talk about a fucking movie.
True.
So we have, in the order of, in chronological order of release, Night of the Living Dead, made in 1968, Dawn of the Dead, the remake, in 2004, Wreck, the Spanish film, in 2007, and then we're going to wrap it up with Train to Busan, made in 2016. So this is going to be an adventure. Who's ready to jump on the train?
I am absolutely ready to jump on this train to Busan.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait to talk about that movie. So we'll start with Night of the Living Dead, 1968. We included that because it is one of the precursors of the zombie genre. It's not necessarily the first zombie film, but it is one of the OGs and a classic that really paved the way for the rest. So let's jump into it. What did you think, friends?
So I'm going to go ahead and preface all of this by saying the zombie genre of film is perhaps my favorite genre of horror film. These are the movies that left lasting scars on my psyche, whether it's movies, whether it's video games, you have Resident Evil, all these various things and whatnot. And to get to visit the film that is credited as the sort of originator of the modern day zombie. Like you said, it's not the first, but I've seen a lot of accounts saying this is kind of where this mold of zombie started to kind of take shape. It is a treat and interesting. A treat because I got to, delve in and see the perception of zombies from the 1968 lens, kind of in a time where there is a lot of racial turmoil, there is a lot of political turmoil, there is so much going on in the world, and there is also all of this being made sort of metaphorically within the film as well. Where the interesting part comes in is the acting was kind of a little on the funny, cheesy side of things. We haven't necessarily paved the way in grounded realism that we do today. So there were definitely some moments where, seeing these incredibly slow zombies just slowly taking their time, meandering, and somehow overpowering and creating such panic. It was kind of a little funny to see. But in terms of the movie, we follow originally. Oh man, I need to go and look at my list real quick for names. Barbara and Johnny. We kind of start out going to the cemetery, a classic, beautiful setting for a zombie film, and the kind of like teasing nature showing us through Barbara's lens that, there's kind of a fear already established within her, and something that kind of plays a role within the movie throughout. And it was interesting, just it just out of nowhere, like you have this guy bumbling in the cemetery out of nowhere, just it comes up, and it's hard for me to say the word attack very seriously because of how hilariously slow it is. And again, like I to anyone listening, remember, I am watching this for the first time through the lens of 2026. This is me looking back. It was kind of funny kind of seeing just the tone of the film going forward. But once you kind of lay that down and suspend your disbelief, it's like, okay, cool. This is the world. These are the zombies. This is what creates fear. This is what incites the panic. Let's get the giggles out and let's just, enjoy it for what it is. It's just very scary. You have them moving into this setting of this sort of abandoned house that is now taking the entire movie into a single setting location, which a lot of these films do, which I love, especially about zombie films, because it helps contain and create that sort of claustrophobia. And this movie especially does that with how beat up everything is. And then the idea that's like, there's only a cellar downstairs and there's no way out. And the upstairs, there's windows everywhere. Whatever shall we do? It's like I said, you take the sort of funny cheesiness out, and it's like, oh no, this really does start to evoke a sense of panic and fear within you as the movie progresses, and as the horde starts to increase in numbers slowly but surely outside. At first it seems manageable. Ben, who is iconic for so many things, one being a black lead in the film, especially in the time of such racial divide occurring. And then also just in the various, either whether it be line deliveries or even just actions, like this man held no punches. Barbara, you get a punch. Harry, you get a punch.
You get a
everybody is getting hands. We are in it to survive. Like, he said equal lefts and rights.
Right? He's like, hey, let's play a game of catch, and everybody's catching those hands for sure.
Everybody's catching them.
But it's I feel in watching this, and obviously this is my very first, or my earliest zombie film, I should say, that I have seen. So I don't know if this is a precedent somewhere else. But for me, seeing the beginning of creating in media the idea of man versus environment / nature through like the zombies, and whether it be a bio-related thing or it be religious or an alien or whatever it may be. And then also seeing my favorite thing, which is man versus man, seeing the internal divide, the struggle, trust. How is it that people come together or break apart in moments of crisis and stress, and especially when there is an external terror. Very, very to just like steal the joke from The Walking Dead. It's just like, oh, we're the Walking Dead, it's not about the zombies. It's the humans that are the monsters. And seeing this in Night of the Living Dead, where Harry kind of presents himself as this antagonistic force. He has the brighter idea. There is no way to get into the cellar. Trust me. Let's all stay there, hunkered down. Ben kind of showing the leadership qualities that generally tend to emerge in these scenarios. You have the folks who are following and afraid, and yeah, it's like this movie, like, again, just seeing the foundation, the sort of just building blocks of what I feel every piece of horror zombie media contains from then on. It's all seen here, and I absolutely loved it.
I do think that although they presented Harry as kind of this antagonistic character, he had a different motivation than anybody else other than his wife. And it's, for me, Ben is out for pure survival, which is why he can throw hands at anyone. He's like, we just got to survive, whether you're in or out. He didn't care, right? It wasn't so much like, I got to protect you all. It's, hey, if you're in my group, cool, we'll posse up and do this together. But if not, take your happy asses to the cellar. You're collateral. Whereas with Harry, he's got the caveat of a sick daughter, or so we think she's sick, right? And when you've got your child on the line, which we see in other later movies, I guess the stakes are higher. So did he make some choices that were maybe not the greatest? Sure, by like locking Judy out and locking people out of the cellar. But for me, it's like he gave them the opportunity, but he's also in the Ben's mindset of like, time is of the essence. We got to make these decisions now. And then I'm going to go from there. For him, or I guess for Ben, his stakes are himself. He's got to survive. And if they're part of his group, great. If not, okay. Whereas when it comes to Harry and his wife, they also have their child that they're trying to protect. So that can drive different actions based on that motivation. Not necessarily right. Like when he shoves Judy out and locks it, not a great thing. It's not. Yeah.
No.
But I will say that George Romero, through Night of the Living Dead 1968, created a formula that still to this day is used. It is the idea of, like you said, the isolation. An apocalypse occurs. Rarely do we get the explanation of what caused it at the beginning. So we see it slowly begin or quickly begin. We see the infection, the mass hysteria, the panic, and then the isolation. And like you said, the character building. In this time of intense fear, what do these people do, man against man or man together with? And so it is an interesting formula he created through Night of the Living Dead, and it still continues. We see it all the way in Train to Busan. And that's how many decades later? So I love it. He is the godfather of zombies. And it's funny because zombie is not a word used, right, in this movie. In fact, I think they're referred to as ghouls. But we do learn that it's because of, and it's such like a passing news alert that they're listening to, which I love, by the way. I love that they're doing that as they're locking up the house. But you hear that like the space probe that was out in space came back, exploded. Now the radiation is causing people to reanimate. And so it's like, oh man, that's crazy. But nice, fun little tidbit of here's why people are eating each other. The thing that I find interesting, we've seen in the zombie films after this, is that they're slow and they're like, brains, and they're not, they're kind of easy to pick off. Whereas in this one, as slow as they are, they're using bricks.
Garden tools.
And they're picking, tools. They're picking up weapons, which it's like, I didn't remember that. And I'm like, holy cow, these zombies are armed. They're slow, but they're armed.
Yeah, no, it's like it's peppered throughout, but it was especially just like, what the hell, when at the very end, when the daughter ends up just picking the thing off of
Trowel.
the yeah, she picks that up and starts just stabbing. I'm like, whoa, yo, like, I'm glad you realize you probably can't dig through with your bare hands because you're a tiny little human.
I mean,
But
she ate her dad. I'm glad she didn't eat her mom. She at least spared her like a quick kill.
but it was like, whoa, like, the only thing missing is for one of these zombies to pick up a blicky, and then that's it. It's game over.
I mean, that one zombie tried to take the gun away from him. Imagine had it gotten a hold of that rifle. They'd be done for.
Man, could you imagine if they were able to drive? Like, it was just like, that's a good idea. Hold on.
So speaking of driving, one thing I wanted to add to it is like there were two situations where everything could have been avoided if you just were just driving properly or doing things properly with automotive vehicles. So like she runs into a tree and just oh my god, I ran into a tree. Now I can't, I gotta run. I just have to run. I can't just drive away. I can't miss a tree.
Her
So there was
character
that.
just infuriated me. Just her
So
level of
much.
ah, like the
The
epitome
Yes.
of horror damsel. And like, someone kill her, please.
Right?
Yes.
I was
Yes.
hoping the whole time. I'm like, she's useless. What the fuck is she even doing here?
I like Judy.
Yeah.
yeah,
But with her, like you were saying, Ashley, that she's that character that she would be, not you, but like you know how you have your fear of zombies, right? Like of watching the movies. So like this is like how somebody would react if your greatest fear actually happened, because that's what happened to her, right?
But she
'Cause-
didn't know about the zombies.
I
They
think
Well,
weren't
no.
a thing. The goals weren't real until they were
Yeah.
real. Although I guess she was afraid of the cemetery. I guess they did the things coming after her. But still,
Yeah.
they're coming
look
to
up,
get you,
girl.
Barbara.
It's time to kill.
They should have got Barbara and fucking taken care of her real quick. 'Cause
It
now-
puts a whole new meaning to roadkill.
yeah.
One thing else I wanted to add with the whole spraying the gasoline all over the place. Like, come on, you were supposed to be the one who knows what you're doing. Oh yeah, I know how to use a gas pump. I know how to pump gas. I know how to use the truck. I'm gonna spray it and then we're gonna explode.
there. Look, I'm not going to pretend that I'm not fallible. I'm sure under duress and stress, I may be a klutz of sorts. I don't know, spray gasoline all over. But no, there were definitely some parts that were just a little egregious. And I think this is like one of those things where in these films, in not just in zombies, but I feel like in horde attacking type situations, they've always got to have the one thing that makes you say, oh, come on, man, you could have just keep composed for a second. You had it, you were out, you were home free, and then here we go.
Well, I think that was their way of being able to be exciting back in 1968, because if you notice, there were actually no on-screen camera kills. It was all implied. The zombie attacks, the zombie bites, other than at the beginning when the ghoul zombie in the cemetery attacks him. But even then, it's so limited. We don't really see the violence. It's implied a lot. So you think you watched a lot of dismemberment, but you don't see a lot of violence. So the exploding car is probably the most exciting thing they could have done.
Right. I liked how after the car exploded and the zombies were eating the two people, like you see the bare bone already. Like I'm like, how the hell did you clear that quick? Like, come on.
Nom nom nom. Nom nom
Apparently.
nomby.
Yeah, it's funny actually, going off of what you were saying in terms of the implication versus actually showing. I do wonder, because now that you say it in hindsight, I think about Johnny's death and how it was such a lackluster, just it looked like a regular old fall and tumble. And I know it's supposed to be he hit his head on the gravestone and that's it, he's gone. But it looked so soft and so minimized that it actually took a second for me to comprehend, oh, he's dead?
It looked like some foreplay, like rumbling around there. They were just like rolling, nice and soft.
It did.
Yeah, get your ass up and let's go.
and I do wonder, with what you were saying in terms of a lot of it was implied, if the things that they did show, if they had to restrict themselves for whatever related, film screenings and audiences, and I don't know how much it was also just limitations. Even you look at the cast, and half of the people are president, vice president of the company, of the film company, hired by Romero to help assist with the thing. And it's like, okay, I don't know if we're looking at limitations, if we're looking at these are just the actors of the time, or if it was, choice versus, like I said, limitations. But the thing that I had thought about, speaking of the truck blowing up, was those zombies must have had their minds blown when that meat got cooked. Like, oh, hold up, this meat can be tastier, it's cooked now. That was like the stupidest little thing that came into my head during that moment. But
Well, the acting, you mentioned the acting and like it feeling a little over the top. And I feel like I read somewhere in an interview that they said that most of it was improv. Like the female lead said something about like they didn't have an actual working script. So it would make sense why sometimes it felt awkward.
That would explain it.
Because they're like, I don't know what the fuck to say.
Just, if you're Barbara, stare catatonically into space.
Oh my god, yeah. Seriously.
I wonder how many of the punches were improvised by Ben. He's just like, that's it. We're gonna add a mollywop in here.
They actually wrote his character to be cast as a white man, but when they cast him, they changed nothing about it. They're like, nope. It's just, this is your character, this is who you are, which I think is why his character is so strong. I feel like had they written it with a black character in mind back then, they would have pulled back. But because they left it as is, which I think is super smart, we got that strong, heroic lead from a black actor, which I love that.
Agreed. And what's, I think, even better about that is there are little elements of that of the film where it feels like there are a lot of racial tension, whether it be Harry versus Ben, or even at the very, very end where they just look into the window and it's just like, shoot it. And you could make an argument. It's just like, did they just see a black guy and it was like, hey, fucking shoot, go ahead and shoot? Or was it literally just movement? Like, hey, yeah, no, that's just a walker. It's fine. Get it.
No, I think that was absolutely an allegory. I mean, just the images that were created prior to that, the hunting team that was out there with their guns and they're like, all right, let's kill some zombies. And then the first one that they find without question, or that they think they find, is a black man. And he's like, shoot it. Like, I think that absolutely was intentional and set up for the purpose that it was. You have your hunting teams very reminiscent of the old school hunting days.
Right. Which, genius, honestly, to utilize everything given and just making the statements that it did.
And granted, I know it's zombies, but I mean, just even the way that after they've killed him, what did they do? They immediately burn him on his yard. Like, it just, I don't know. I think he was pretty clear, but I could be wrong, because if they wrote that without a black character in mind or a black actor, then who knows? But
I think, I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. It could be, though.
And I think that is exactly it, right? It's because we're given that it was originally written with a white actor and then they cast the black one. Did they afterwards end up changing ideas and in order to make these statements that they made, whether it's the, or not even just whether, just the entire just racial allegory and period. And I think there is something to it, that part probably was purposeful after the fact, realizing the extra topics that they were able to touch through the casting of Dwayne in that role.
So I just looked it up and it says that the end was rewritten to have him die at the end. So I think it was pretty intentional then about that racial allegory.
Well, then there we go.
Yay for Google.
Yay for Google, indeed.
It helps me find the answers so fast.
And I truly do love that Romero used that and didn't hold or pull away from making the commentary that he did regarding the racial divide in the country. Because so easily, with a lot of the film industry in general, especially in these times, they could have easily tried to pull away due to what the quote unquote majority of the sentiment was, and try to appease a more mass audience rather than being progressive about it. But the fact that Romero was like, no, like, we're going to go ahead and make a commentary on this because this is what is happening. These ghouls aren't the only monsters in our society. Here we have, again, the man versus man. And here we are with again, the racial divide just coming through. So yeah, no, it was a great film. I really did enjoy it.
John, did you have something?
Oh no, I was just gonna go back to the whole bear bone thing after they were cooked. Basically, that's all it was.
I do think it's interesting because, back then our horror heroes weren't being set up to die yet. So it is interesting that we have something that isn't typical. We have a black hero in a horror film. He makes it all the way to the end, but unfortunately he still dies. And so it is an interesting commentary. And I do love that whether it was intentional or not, it has people still to this day talking about it and thinking about what exactly does that mean.
One thing to kind of go back a little bit, you guys talked about Harry and his motivations, and I think what was great about it as well is that, because I keep thinking, like, why didn't they just wait out the night? Because Ben survived because he waited out the night, and the next day, right? But they were pushed. They were pushed because the sick daughter, and so they had to get out of the house and try to. And even the TV was saying, you need to go to these places. They can help you. They have medical supplies and all that. And so that was that was probably the only reason why Harry was like, all right, I'm on board with getting out of here, or at least, listening to Ben in that situation. But
Yeah, at least trying a little.
yeah, because otherwise, I mean, he's not going to listen to Ben. And even though, I don't know, like Ben was right and wrong at the same time, right? Because like he ended up in the cellar and he was safe. Like, so.
But could you imagine had they all locked themselves in the cellar and boarded it up and she changed?
Right.
There is that.
Because she was eventually going to. So if they had all done what was originally recommended, I mean, maybe they would have made it, but she attacked her dad pretty quickly, so she would have at least gotten one. So then you got to kill both, and it just becomes one of those, you're in an even smaller space with nowhere to go, and now the outbreak is in there with you.
Right. And, we know that Ben was a survivor the next day in this iteration that we saw. However, as you rewrite the nature of the movie, you start to make other plot points or, instances of struggle, right? What happens if the entire downstairs is overrun and all you hear is, guttural moaning and zombies clanking the walls and everything. And then it goes on for days. And then days, and suddenly food starts getting depleted, oxygen's getting lower. It's like it ends up posing its own set of interesting what ifs. It's not even necessarily in one iteration, it literally could have been that they all went to the cellar. Next day, the guard comes over, sheriff knocks them all dead, and everyone's lives happily ever after. But that's no fun. We got to have struggle and conflict.
Now, speaking of limited supplies and struggle and conflict, that brings us to Dawn of the Dead, 2004.
Dawn of the Dead.
Which is also originally a George Romero film. This one we watched is a remake of it, so it's not George Romero, but inspired by the original, which was 1978, I believe.
Did not know.
Yeah, so this is a remake. I will say that George Romero did not 100% love the remake because he felt it lost a lot of the social commentary he was making in his original film about consumerism. However, we got new zombies in this one. And so this one scared the fuck out of me. Let's talk about it.
This was the fucking movie that gave me nightmares through just the commercials. Because what year was this again? 2004?
Mm-hmm.
I was 11.
I was going to say, you were a baby.
I was 11. I vividly remember as I was watching. So I have a friend actually staying with me right now. So I ended up rewatching the film earlier, and they watched the second half with me. And we hit the point where the old lady, they put the blanket over her head, and then she comes up. But like before that happens, I was like, "Hey, isn't that the part in the commercial that freaked me the fuck out?" What? And then it happens. I'm like, nope, yep. This, I fuck this movie. This is the reason that I have became entirely scared of zombies. This was the beginning of my trauma with the genre that I have slowly overcome through the years. I loved / hate everything about this film.
Same. This movie scared the fuck out of me.
It's God. There's so much to talk about in it. You have okay. So let's just focus on the zombie portion. Mm-hmm. You are introduced to running, fast, just rabid, feral creatures.
Yes.
It's just on sight. They hear, they see, they come for you, and it is the most frightening thing. And they do not stop. To know that my asthmatic ass could barely go 15 seconds running, but if I were to reanimate, this body is just trucking for days. That's insane. I hated that. and you know, in a way, like, I'm glad it was in a mall, because the mall environment, which I think we can also just talk about now. The mall environment is such a smart location because you have so many stores, you have so many entrances, you have the idea of the sewer system, you have the rooftop, you have all of these things that you just cannot account for. And even more so, which was absolutely depicted in the film, you have places where you yourself can run off to and hide on the off chance that you're either bitten, or you got your secret, or your baby mama is giving a demonic pregnancy. You know, and nobody will bother you.
Fucked me up, that zombie baby.
There is nothing that I hate, like body horror and stuff like that. Of course, I'll watch it all, but there is nothing more just visceral than seeing like a stomach bulging with like the points, or like, oh no, please, baby, please stop, stay in there. It's not your time. It's not your time, baby.
You just need to cook a little longer.
But yeah, the film was fantastic. You know, you have, again, the idea of the man versus zombie, but especially in this one, man versus man. You have all these different people coming together. No one knows who to trust. You have the mall cops. You have the sort of the group that met beforehand that came into the mall. And then you have, of course, the group of survivors that came in through the truck that finally formed this ragtag. We have 3 different groups that have come together, all with suspicions of each other, and kind of displaying like the distrust and also showing, like, in a way, like slight redemption through some of them, and also slight turning for others. You have CJ, the mall cop in particular. You look at him and you think he's like the absolute worst. He's pointing guns at everybody. Y'all stay here, and y'all are not allowed to go anywhere. And objectively, cool, I get it. These people came in from nowhere. You don't trust anyone. survival is the first instinct. But then, fuck, what's his name? Steve later comes in, Ty Burrell's character, and shows you there's an actual like pompous asshole who's just like even worse than CJ, and you're like, oh, okay, it can get worse. And like CJ has like even though he has a lot of that distrust, he does ultimately still help the group.
Oh, he has a redemption arc completely.
Like that entire thing, I was surprised. I was like, I feel like a someone going to Formula would just like keep him the bad guy and then kill him off in bad guy fashion. Like, you had this coming, you deserved it. But it was like, oh no, like they gave him a redemption arc. I was pleasantly surprised about that. Mm-hmm. And yeah,
and Steve got what was coming to him.
Steve got what was fucking coming to him. Fuck that character. Gosh.
Fuck that.
Am I the only one that liked him?
He's the captain. I don't know. He's the captain.
John liked him.
Of course I like him. Sometimes you gotta have to like the asshole. I don't know. But
I mean, fair. That's fair. Sometimes you do.
I will say, like, you mentioned the commercial scaring the crap out of you. I remember before this movie came out, before they even did the commercials, they showed the first 10 minutes on TV. It was like for Entertainment Tonight or some weird show like that. That first 10 minutes scared the shit out of me alone. And then, I mean, it was just crazy how fast everything went.
Mm-hmm. Well, I love the intro, and then it goes to the Johnny Cash, like, montage. Like, oh, so good.
I still can't listen to Johnny Cash music because of this fucking movie. Every time I hear Johnny Cash, I'm like, it's a zombie apocalypse, run! Like, I now have a trauma association with Johnny Cash and fast fucking zombies.
Yeah, I get that.
Dang.
It is a real thing.
I get it. I honestly get it. Like, that is a trauma response. That is an absolutely earned trauma response.
Like, let's be real. We love horror, guys, but there are some movies that really do push the line of terror to a point where it does create like a micro trauma. And this movie is one of those. So the music associated with it, I'm always going to immediately flinch when I hear Johnny Cash. Like, I cringe a little and I'm like, nope, it's not real. They're not real. But this one really got to me. That first, John, you mentioned the first 10 minutes. That first even 5 minutes, like she's leaving the hospital and you already hear like, oh, we've got an emergency. Oh, and she's like, oh, off I go. But it's already popping off, right? The night before she wakes up, and that scene really fucked with me because we don't get just the fast zombies in a horde. We get a little girl.
Right.
And she rips into this lady's husband. You had a short moment, but they did a really good job of, you already like this couple. You care about this couple. And then boom, husband's dead. This little freaky neighbor girl just killed him. And even her escape scene, that tension and that, oh my God, when she's going out the window and the little girl's almost like, that was so well done. Like, that's how you start a movie about fucking zombies on steroids. And it's terrifying. It started with a terrifying bang and it just kept that pace. And sometimes you desensitize, right? Like, you just desensitize when a film starts off hot too fast. This one didn't do that for me because you had the zombie babies, because you had all of these sad moments, like when the dad turns and they have to kill him. Like, so many powerful moments that they're able to just compile throughout the film so that you don't desensitize. And it's like, oh God, I'm so wrecked.
And then there's just these funny little moments too, right? Like when they first meet up and he's like, yeah, we're going to go to the mall. You know, it just sounds, you know, it's just like, it's like, not like it's a fun activity. It's like, I don't know, just the way he said it, right? There's a lot of little things like that throughout. Right, like when he's playing with the chainsaw, he's like, "I gotta show you something. Check this out. If they're stuck on the side, we could just stick the chainsaw out and get them off."
How romantic!
Like, he was excited about it, right? Yeah, right.
I mean, if there's a zombie apocalypse, and you show me that, I'd probably feel romanced. Kill them zombies.
I liked when they were when the guy across the building was showing the signs and they're trying to shoot all the celebrity lookalike zombies.
The doppelgangers.
Yeah.
Just tell him Rosie O'Donnell. Get Rosie.
Get Rosie. That was, and that's really what I love about this movie, because sometimes you can have too many characters in a film. And so it's hard to keep track of the stories and care about each one equally, or hate the ones that you want to hate because there's just too many. But in this case, there are a lot, but you care about each one and you understand each one. Like the fact that, is it Mackay Pfeiffer's?
Yeah.
Girlfriend is pregnant and he's got her chained up, like that desperation that even though he knows she's a zombie, he just can't let her go. And then you've got the guy on the rooftop, Andy, that he and Kenneth are forming that bond from across the way. So then when he's starting to run out of supplies, they're like, we got to help our friends. Like that's just this movie, as much as I know, it wasn't necessarily loved by people that stand hard for the original. I think this one did something new and special. And it wasn't just about the gore and the terror. There were real stories built with motivations that anybody could watch and relate to at least one of the characters.
And I think it added a richness to all of the people coming from all walks of life. And in a mall setting, there's all of these things. There's so much more at their leisure, right? They're like, okay, what can we use for weapons? Like there's a lot of different like things that you can think about. And I think that was part of the fun of it. It's like, oh yeah, we have more at our disposal, and we have all these different types of people with all these different, skills or whatever. And how are they going to help us or hinder us from surviving, right? I think that was a big thing. And for me at the mall, like one thing that I saw there that they were carrying out was like a nostalgia thing, like the Sobe drinks. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
The good old lizard drink.
Man.
Sobe you.
Yeah, I want some of those.
Yeah, the movie, like it really, in its short runtime, it really did manage to do so much. It, like you mentioned, Ashley, there were so many different relationships built to allow you to actually care or not care for certain characters, but like the not care being purposeful, as in like, not necessarily even a hatred, but just like, I don't like that guy. And on top of that, you have, like BJ mentioned, you have all these like little laced comedic moments that help just bring a hair of levity in there without fully detracting you. In the beginning, it was funny. It was like I kind of had like a little bit of whiplash actually, because you had the intensity of the house scene and her and what was her name, Anna, I believe. She escapes from the window and whatnot, and as she's outside, the neighbor is pointing the gun, telling her to stay back. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the ambulance or the fire truck or whatever it was, like slams his ass. And I was like, okay, hold on, is this a drama or a comedy? I'm like a hair lost for a second, but then and that entire just the entire like scene was shot so fantastically with the way it was just behind the car in a way that showed, or in front of the car rather, showing you everything going on behind and around without only focusing on the character's face. So you get all the explosions, you get the zombies running after other people, you get the fire, and it was just the absolute chaos. And then of course it reels back into the more like serious tone that it meant to be for majority of that, where you had the interpersonal conflicts occurring and everything kind of arising. And then, of course, the final like comedic thing that I can think of that stuck out to me was after such a serious moment where the people broke into the mall through the truck, came in, and they realized the father is bit and he's probably going to turn. The entire conflict of whether to kill him, whether to not. And then having Anna be like, I'm glad you didn't kill him, or aren't you glad you didn't kill him? And then immediately gunshot. And it's supposed to be tragic. And then Richard Cheese's version of Down with the Sickness plays, this lounge version of this fucking song. And leading you into this like mini mall montage, which didn't overstay its welcome. It just, people trying on shoes, people fucking, people doing little things around the mall. And then boom, back to business. As you do, of course.
As you do.
But I truly did. I thought it was such a good movie. I hate everything that they did, lovingly.
It scared the fuck out of you.
And also, like, you know, the bleakness of the end, which is something funny enough. If you don't stay through the credits, you think you got the happy ending. If you just were like, oh, okay, they're just showing little clips here and there. Let's just, all right, I'm done with the popcorn in the movie, honey. Let's go. And then it becomes the more serious thing. And oh my God, how could I forget? This shit fucking freaked me out as a kid. Opening the icebox on the floating boat that they come across and having that head just screaming and twitching and whatnot.
What's in the box? That's great.
I hated it. I hated that.
He had to put his head on ice. Yeah, I mean, that was the post-credit scene before the post-credit scenes were a thing. So if you didn't stay, then you missed it. Like you said, you get the happy ending or you get the real ending. And I was so pissed off at the real ending because I saw it. I stayed in the theater and I saw it and I was so mad.
As you should be. They fought so
They
hard.
fought hard, yeah. But that's not what this kind of movie is, right? There's zombie movies. That's the point, right? Like, if somebody survives, it's probably didn't succeed in telling the zombie movie properly, right? Everybody's got to die, or at least on their way to death, right? Because there is no escape.
It doesn't have to be that way, BJ. It doesn't have to be that way.
Nope, those are the rules. Now they gotta die.
Well,
So
the thing is, though,
Which that's maybe the commentary on humanity, right? Like man against man. That is, zombies might just be seen as an external manifestation of the monster within us. And that, like, as much as you try to run it and fight it, it's going to get you.
it's gonna get you.
It's going to eat you.
One thing I like about this movie, and you can do whatever you want with a zombie movie, and we're gonna touch that with the other zombie movies too. The rules, right? Like shoot them in the head, that kind of stuff. Sure, but like you can do different things. You can have fast zombies. You can have the one that was different about this one, or they made a point for it, is that the zombies don't eat animals, and in some other zombie movies they do. And so that kind of thing, it's like, oh, okay, like I like this because no animals died. Like that, the dog survived. That's number one. That's why it's a happy ending.
Oh, I was waiting too. I was ready to be enraged when they sent him out with the supplies.
Yep.
And I'm just like, I swear to God, if those zombies rip that dog apart, I'm walking out of this fucking movie.
Yep.
Zombie babies, dogs being like, I will not have it. I was so mad during I Am Legend because of what happened with the dog. Like I was ready to riot if that happened.
Yeah.
People, but Chips, leave him alone.
Right?
I think that was his name, right?
Yes.
Okay.
We're all yep.
It's the one character's name we recognize, we remember, right?
Right?
But to your point, BJ, there are rules that each zombie film creates. This is my zombie. This is how my zombie is infected or spreads. And this is how they can be killed. And I think every zombie film has to explain that. Otherwise, it just doesn't quite land for the viewer. I think if we just watched a zombie film without knowing the how, even if it's a slight how, like I don't have to know how the infection started necessarily. I'd like to know, but I don't necessarily need to know. But if I don't know how it's spreading, obviously that's going to be like, what the fuck? If I don't know how to kill it, again, revisit what the fuck and who can be infected by it or become reanimated or a zombie. And we've gotten into that before. What defines a zombie? That has to be defined in our films. Because it's not the same, right? And we saw that even in the films we watched tonight, which I'd love to discuss at the end, is we saw at least 3 different types of zombies. And so we'd love to talk about that later once we've talked about all the films. But yeah, I mean, this idea that zombies are people eating people.
Yeah.
At least in all 4 of them, right? In all 4, people are eating people.
Yep.
And not in the fun way. So
That ain't my Friday night.
Yeah, right? So, so do we want to say anything else about this one before we take a trip on to Rec?
The only thing I want to say about this one is that it really, when I first watched it, and it aged well for me. Like it still is something I can rewatch all the time. It doesn't feel like dated really for me, but also it just gets my mind going with all the different tools and the cars and everything it set that in my mind. It's like it was the first movie that was like, oh yeah, these are all this is everything I have at my disposal. What can I do? Right. It was the first zombie film to do that for me, which made it more imaginative, I guess, for future zombie films, I think.
Y'all, I'm so scared of fucking zombies, and therefore I've armed myself with the knowledge of them. I bet I could write a hell of a fucking zombie film. I'd lose my mind in the process, but
True.
just from terrifying myself. But yeah, I'm just saying, fuck all y'all, because I'm going to probably have crazy dreams tonight.
Thank you for your service.
Right. I will say I agree with BJ. This came out like years later, but it reminds me of the video game Left 4 Dead. Because fast zombies, being stuck, fighting hordes all over the place. So it was kind of cool to, obviously see it in 2004. And then again, years later, the game came out. And I'm like, oh, this kind of reminds me of that. So watching that, I kind of see that as well still. So it's
and even Dead Island, where they take place in I don't know if it's all of them or just the third one or whatever, but I saw my friend play it, and it was in a shopping mall, and you go into the sports store, grab a bat, or go to the gardening store and get a lawnmower and take out zombies and whatnot. It is fun seeing its influence, not just in film, but also just in zombie media as a whole.
Exactly.
100%.
Yeah, this one definitely set the pace for a meaner, more angry zombie. And as much as slow zombies can be scary, especially when they're hurling bricks, these zombies are a whole new level of terror. So, and like you said, they are relentless. They don't stop.
Nope.
All right. So then we're going to take a hop over the pond to Spain for Rec 2007.
This is I
like the
well, I hate this movie so much, and I again say it lovingly, because there is nothing worse than found footage, or there's nothing worse than zombie movies mixed with found footage, and just really upping the intensity of what fear, panic, confusion, anxiety, tension, all of that just being so amplified by the fact that you are seeing this through this shaky lens. I distinctly went through again. I always, after I watch the films, I'll always skim through again just to kind of look at the plots and the time markers and on various things and whatnot. And man, so the moment the terror actually hits, once we get the first zombie upstairs with the infected old lady beginning the first attack on the firefighters as they're there, and then panic ensuing and becoming even bigger and bigger and bigger, and then suddenly you add the elements of fear, you add the elements of the power going out, you have the location being the fucking staircase. It's not just yes, they're confined in a building, but they're effectively just a staircase. I think it doesn't get any more claustrophobic a setting than a vertical space. I understand, in the other films, you can have those moments. And in Train to Busan, of course, which we'll get to, the narrowness of a train, I know, is very, very confining. But the stairs means that there is only a few feet of space that you're actually also traversing, and it only goes up and down. And if you're lucky, maybe a door can open. I really, really, really love this film. The acting was absolutely phenomenal. I think there's something about found footage and everybody in this film that made this feel kind of real. You know, I believe the performances. I believe that if you were to show me this kind of like footage and just be like, hey, look what we found, it's like, holy fuck, like that looks crazy. that feels really, really, really good. And yeah, I really just I really can't sing this movie's praises enough, because the moment everything hits the fan and the panic ensues, and you have the building being quarantined, and you have the lights eventually coming out, and you have this panic among all of the tenants of this building and trying to figure out, how do we get out? And every time they think they have a way to get out, suddenly you have army telling you, hey, keep away from the fucking windows, we'll shoot. And then I haven't even talked about the last 20 minutes, which fucked me up the most. You know, you have all this like panic ensuing, and as more and more people turn, of course, the camera becomes shakier and shakier. And oh my god, what's her name? One moment. Angela and Pablo, the reporter, and or not reporter, but the episode narrator of that late night show, and her cameraman. The just fear becoming more and more. You hear their breathing becoming amplified, and the fact that they weren't afraid to even let the audio levels become distorted peak and just fuck your ears up. There was a moment where Nazombeeh was in like the final, in one of the final turns, when they're trying to get the key to get into the locked door and get into the empty tenant's apartment, the attic. Yeah. The lady, the zombie came up so close and screamed, and it peaked, and it bothered the hell out of me. And I was like, I hate this, but it is a choice, and it was a choice that worked. Letting the audio levels just say, fuck it, you know what? This is what you're going to get. And as uncomfortable it is as a viewer to see all of this shakiness, to hear all of this high-pitched screaming and just distorted noise and whatnot, it only helped give a bigger sense of that fear into the viewer. It really puts you in that moment. I felt claustrophobic as hell, especially in that last 20 minutes, once they finally got into that attic, and then the lights go out, and now you are sitting in almost majority darkness. Sure, they get the nightlight out and it becomes even like freakier, but just the nothingness, the breathing, all these zombies are outside, and now you're left with this terror in here that we've now discovered exists, apparently. Presumably the start of this outbreak. It was I love this film. I can say more, but I do want to hear thoughts as well.
I think the sound distortion and just the different sound choices that they made is what made the found footage aspect tolerable and believable to me. Because as disruptive as it can be in terms of, oh god, that peaked, or oh my gosh, the sound is so muddled, it made sense, right? Like, oh gosh, they're running, they lost their mic packs, or it's being jostled. And so, of course, you wouldn't hear it perfectly, or it's peaking because the zombie screaming right at the camera. And it's like, okay, of course that would be a thing. And so it added to the realism for me to have those sound choices. Normally, I do not like when films kind of throw sound out the window. But when it comes to found footage, I think that's what helps me feel it's more believable, is when the sound is not perfectly clean and clear. Because when it's perfectly clean and clear, I'm like, okay, clearly this is not found footage. You've got a camera on sticks, or you're like wobbling it on purpose. But or you've got someone with a boom. And it's like with this, it's like, nope, you're truly in a found footage scenario. And the guys know this, I do not like found footage films. It's just not my favorite thing. I get I don't want to say sick. I just get thrown off, and I'm not a fan of them. With this film, I think it was an excellent choice. because it just further disorients you as this is occurring. And what I loved most about this film that we don't see in most other zombie films is the fact that this is happening, yes, in one location, but it's not a location of their choice. It is a location that has been imposed into them. They are locked in. They're quarantined in. With every other zombie film, you get to choose where you're going to be, right? You get to be in the cellar, you get to be in the house, the mall, whatever. And in this one, this is happenstance. Most of these people, they just happen to live there. The reporter's there with the firemen because they're answering a service call, and now they are forcibly locked in. And if they try to leave, like you would in any of the other scenarios, with Dawn of the Dead, they left the mall to go to the boat dock, right? Because, this has been invaded. Night of the Living Dead, he eventually goes to the cellar because the zombies are outside and they're slowly making their way in. Like, they have choices to escape the zombies. And in this case, there is no choice. This is where you have to stay, because if you don't have to worry about the zombies killing you. Fellow men, fellow humanity, they're going to shoot you dead. And they even say that at some point when they're going to go, and they're like, back off, back away from the window, or we're going to have to use deadly force. And it's like, oh my God. It's terrifying, because even if they can find a way out, like through the tunnel, like that guy was talking about, the sewer or whatever, even if they can find a way out, they're not going to make it, because they're going to be shot dead if they get caught leaving.
That might be the better choice, though, right? I'd rather do that. I don't want to get eaten alive by somebody that's infected and then reanimate myself.
I mean, right? At least then you're still living.
Sort of. So one thing I wanted to add about the found footage part that I loved was the slow burn. Like, it's like, all right, we're doing this news story about these firefighters. This is fun. This is what we do in the fire station, right? All this kind of stuff. She's trying on the equipment and all that. And you're like, oh, cool. It's like a fluff piece or whatever. And then, let's hopefully we get some action tonight. And then they go.
She got her action.
Oh my God. And there was a lot, though, that I loved about how she stood up for it, even in the face of all of that. She's like, no, the people need to know what's going on here. Stop telling us to turn it off. Like, this isn't right. This isn't normal. The people need to know what's going on in here, because this isn't a usual situation. Stop telling me to not record, right? But if I was Pablo, I'd have been out of there like right away. Like first like 10 minutes, if somebody drops from 10 whatever floors up and just splats, peace, I'm out.
But he couldn't. They were already locked in at that point, because they tried to run and it had already been locked.
I'm taking a bullet then.
BJ, you and I are very similar. I've made this joke so many times, but I'm like, if there's a zombie apocalypse, I'm gonna live out until I'm done with my bags of chips, and after that, it's been nice knowing y'all. I can't be trusted to rebuild society.
Here's the thing: even if they had survived the night, like we see in the other movies, right? Like Night of the Living Dead. Even if they had survived the night, they would have met the same fate as Ben. Except it wouldn't have been because they were zombies like they thought supposedly Ben was. It would have been, you were in a quarantine infected area. We got to get rid of everything. And they fully intended to. I think we realized that early on. They fully intend to get rid of these people. They're going to let them kill each other off, and then they're going to get rid of them, because otherwise they wouldn't have cut the cell signal and the TV signal. That happens early on, where the guy's like, what's going on? I have no television signal. I have no cell phone signal. I don't know what's happening. I think the one lady's able to communicate with her husband until they cut it off. But until that point, like, I don't think they ever intended for them to survive.
That was my question, is why send somebody in from the outside, in his, all his equipment, if they're just going to kill him off anyway? Maybe they just to confirm or what?
I think it's to neutralize them, because if you notice, he came in with all the tranquilizers, and he was tranquilizing the first two bodies, the fireman, I think it was Alex, and then the police officer who was bit first. And I think he was probably taking blood samples, because then they know tranquilize the zombies so they can kill them later because they're harder to kill, and then you can just pew pew the humans. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I don't think they anticipated they were going to get as violent as they were, but I do think they had every intention to not let them survive, or not let them out of that building. But who knows? No one can say they probably cut the cell signals so that they wouldn't cause mass panic by communicating with the outside of what was going on, because there is something to be said about that, and we can revisit that with Train to Busan. As much as sometimes it's like, oh, they're up to nefarious and they're up to, suppressing the truth, sometimes I think it's also just so mass panic doesn't occur, and then there's deaths on top of that just because people are panicking and rioting. So I don't know. It was an interesting film in terms of how fast they quarantined them, which made me wonder, had this happened before? Because they had that shit down to an art. Like,
Yes,
they
they
immediately put the what were those? Like the tarps over
sheets,
the building.
yeah.
They had the SWAT team hanging outside the windows ready to shoot. And they had the whatever that code was for the health plan to shut it down. Like, there was way too much, I don't know, there was way too much orchestrated in their plan for that to have been something they came up with overnight when, the dog was found to have been infected at the vet. Poor Max. At least we didn't see it.
Yeah. The thing I love about all these movies is there is no same cause of origin on this. In Night of the Living Dead, we have the Venus satellite probe. In Dawn of the Dead, it's not actually even said in any way. Everyone's just like, hey, is this a military concern or a health concern? And it's like, yes. and then with this one, the sort of reveal at the end where there is this sort of possession that has gone wrong, and this person is now kind of person zero and living in the attic, apparently. Escaped all the way from the Vatican to here somehow, unless they were operating on her in there. But it was like, oh, interesting. I have not necessarily seen a religious origin to a zombie outbreak. Obviously, there's always themes of religion kind of sprinkled in a lot of these media, in these films, because, it's like some cope through religion and look to God for aid. Others denounce him, and you kind of have that sort of like religious versus atheist thing that comes up in some films here and there, but it's usually just an intrinsic thing. It's never, oh, you're telling me that the cause of this is a possession that has occurred and is now able to somehow spread through because this demon person thing has escaped. Now, of course, there is always that element of, well, was it actually a demonic possession, or was it still a bio-engineered related thing that seeped into a person? And it's like,
oh, you're gonna have to watch Rec 2, 3, and 4 to find that out.
There's more?
There's more.
I had no idea.
And it explains, but it is a demonic possession that becomes a manifestation of a plague virus type thing that can spread from person to person.
Interesting. Okay, well, there you go. Well, I like that then. I like when something is just different and doesn't give you the whole like, they think it's that, but it is still actually just. It's just like, no, like fuck it, keep it a demonic possession. Like, let's run with this. This is different.
I mean, it is interesting, the leap from demonic possession to it manifests as this illness in her bloodstream that then this guy is able to take test on, and then oops, it's out.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't it eventually look like a bug, John, or something, like a parasite?
Yeah, I think that's like either in the third one or the fourth one, but
yeah, it's one of them. It's interesting, but to your point, I do like that each zombie outbreak has its own origin. The only one we don't get an origin for is Dawn of the Dead 2004, but we don't really care.
Yeah, no.
They do it so well that we don't care. We know how it spread, how to kill them, and what are the rules. So the how we don't like the why. We didn't need to know.
Nope. No, this one definitely gave me anxiety for sure. It makes me think like if something like this actually did happen, like I think they would literally just try to get rid of everybody as fast as they could.
I think this was the most realistic approach if we're talking about what would happen if some kind of zombie outbreak was responded to, just because we are given a little bit more of the story. Because at first you're like, whoa, how did they respond that fast? And they quarantined them that fast. And then you find out, oh, this actually started with the dog. They figured out what was going on the night before with the dog and traced it back to that building. So they were already preparing to lock that shit down. Just happenstance that old lady went batshit crazy and was biting everybody, but it was already in mode. They were already on their way. So
Yeah. And this is the one that I had least problems with. So I with every zombie thing, I kind of have little tiny problems where I'm like, there is no way that you overcame this horde, or like you somehow got lucky and squeezed through. And it's like, no. If 10 people are about to pile up on me, whether they're regular humans or zombies, I'm done for. Y'all are done for. But with this one, I believed in the ability of a lot of those instances to be overcome. I think the ending part with the staircase, I'm like, okay, we're starting to get into that little fantastical, like, suspend disbelief. It's fine. You made it through. We got to get you into the door. But it was kind of what you said, Ashley. This is the most realistic one of all of them.
I was more sad about Manu though.
Yeah.
I was like, this guy is being a hero through and through, just pounding through these zombies, and then I'm like, fuck, not you.
Yeah, he was the homie.
All surviving, but I would at least hoped you would have been like the last to go. Angela was driving me nuts. I'm not gonna lie. I just was like, someone please take her out. I know they won't because she's the protagonist, but just the what's going on in there? What's going on? You have to tell me. Tell me now. What's happening? What's happening? It's like, shut the fuck up. You're gonna get caught.
Oh.
Do you want your story or not?
The one of the last things I can think of that I wanted to touch on that I thought was really interesting from the foreign film perspective is seeing racial and xenophobic divide happening in that lens, the way it was against the did they say they were Chinese or and it was like, oh, hold on, like we do still have like an element, like obviously in the States, we have it in a lot of ways, but I feel like more often than not, it's generally black, white. And for this to see a sort of kind of like disdain, hatred, not necessarily hatred, but kind of like a stink eye toward.
Oh no, they were definitely racist to the Asian family. That was like straightforward.
It was just like, oh fuck, like okay, this is interesting. This isn't something that I would have necessarily thought of because I mean, obviously, I don't know what the racial climate looks like in Spain, or in the very least, what was chosen for this movie, right?
That's why I liked Manu, because they were trying to like lean in. It's y'all's fault, and like trying to lean in against the Asian family, and then Manu turns to her and he's like, "Isn't your daughter sick?"
Yeah.
I'm like, oh snap.
He's a homie.
She's like, tonsillitis. I'm like, tonsillitis my ass. You got a demon child about to happen.
Just like in the first one we watched, right? Sick daughter eventually is gonna be a zombie.
Those kids,
the daughter takes a while. Kids take a little bit longer.
Can we talk about how realistic that is, though? Kids are little petri dishes, and I get the sickest from what I catch from them than anything else. I go to conventions, I get sick, but nothing like when they bring me stuff home from school. So this isn't so far off. I probably have an immunity to the zombie apocalypse now because of everything they've exposed me to.
You're going to be the cure.
I'm going to be honest. I love that you loved the ending, Nazeeh. I absolutely did not. I could have done without the random night vision here's this creature that looks like it's out of a video game. That almost looked like the girl from Resident Evil. Now, I know this came before Resident Evil.
Yeah.
But it looked like that. Like she's in her little chonies and she's got like her, bones just bearing. And it's like, it felt more like a video game. Like we switched to a video game. I think if they were going to show us the monster that was her, I would have preferred them to have shown her first and then gone to night shift mode as they were, or night vision mode as they were being hunted by her through the room. Because seeing her first in that mode, it just felt fake. It felt like I was watching a CGI animated thing versus everything we had seen up until that point, which was very nice practical effects, very solid zombies, right? And then we get this demon-possessed patient zero, and she just looked like a video game character to me. And whatever that was in the attic, I don't know what that was. Was that a little boy?
That was like a little boy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever that was.
The single jump scare for the camera pan. Like, okay.
Right. And it scared the shit out of me, I'll say that.
Yeah, because he wasn't in night shift mode. That was still when the camera light was on and then he broke the camera. I would have preferred if she had been the one we saw. Like in the attic, we see her face and then she whacks the fuck out of the camera. And now we've got her in night shift mode because just our exposure to her. What was that character's name? Tatiana? Tristana. Yeah. If we had been exposed to Tristana as the patient zero zombie, demon possessed, whatever, as she is with practical effects, I would have loved that. But to only get to see her through night shift, she just didn't land as scary to me. And with that entire beautiful buildup that we've had up until that point, I'm like, God damn it.
Or they could have done it almost like Alien or Aliens, where you only show glimpses of it, like a little bit of an arm, a little bit of some hair, just hidden, not quite like out front and center kind of thing, right? Where it's just kind of sneaking away and you catch, because that's how it is for like a lot of these things. These, they say you see it out of the corner of your eye, right? Like they could have used that instead of just like, here it is. So I agree with you there.
Yeah, it was too animated for me to take it seriously. And again, I felt like it did a slight disservice because of every beautiful, I say that loosely, zombie that we saw up until that point and all of the practical effects and makeup work. It was just like, knowing that she is the origin, I would have loved if they had just given us the actual monster versus the night vision creature thing that looked more like a video game character. And that would have really just for me ended this film in a beautiful note, or just never showing her to us, showing us the news articles, letting us listen to the recordings, and then cutting to Pablo being hammered by something and Angela being dragged away from the camera by something and just not letting us see it. We've seen the zombies up until that point, so we could have done way worse with our imagination.
Just sound, just audio of something weird, creepy, growling, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. That would have been chef's kiss. That would have been beautiful. This is a great film. And I love the origin story, like you said, Nazeeh, about like having the demon possession turning into this manifestation of a physical illness that spreads from person to person to person through saliva. Who wants a kiss? That does beg the question, though, because of seeing the other ones, knowing how it spread. Because if she's locked in this ritual room, how to get out to the other people. Now, if you watch the rest, you learn. But this idea that it would have stayed in this building, knowing that it spread so quickly through the dog, to the people, through the rats, like it's just like, how did it only stay there? Or maybe it didn't.
Right. So while I like I said, I did love everything, and I love the manner in which the ending was shot and how they did everything. I completely agree. I don't like the showing of Tristana because like to your point, it looked out of place. And as much as I love everything conceptually, I do feel that the ending was also a little rushed in terms of the revelation of that information. Much to your point, I would have would have preferred if they showed the sample, the clippings, played the audio sample. Maybe you hear something, maybe someone gets knocked out, but keep it ambiguous and then take us to number 2 after. Like just end us on a sort of cliffhanger that makes you say, "Oh fuck, this isn't over." But yeah, it definitely didn't stick its landing, and also the way they did the drag away, it was a little too cliched. I was just like, oh, that's some cheesy. Like, don't get me wrong, call me Chester Cheetah the way I be loving my cheese, but that was a little too much for me.
No, I do like their creative camera shots, though. We got some really fun camera shots. I know when the little girl taps on the screen after he set it on the floor and accidentally turns it on by tapping on it. So now it's recording and you get the conversations, but you're just looking at their feet and you see the mom and the daughter on the steps. They're kind of out of focus because the camera's not supposed to be in focus. That was fun. I thought that was a really nice way to show a scene. I love when people find creative ways to introduce us to conversations that could get boring, right? Like Angela and Pablo off to the side talking about, well, I don't know what the fuck's going on. And that was a creative way to do it, right? So you don't get bored in between the action of the zombie kills. So they did have some fun things, but to your point, it was like, she's about to get dragged away.
Yeah. The one thing that I liked, speaking of the camera things that they did, was in the upstairs, more closer to the beginning when the old lady first attacks and kills the officer. I like how Angela came to Pablo and was like, hey, rewind that. And then they actually like rewound and then fast forwarded back to us. It was like a fun little tiny thing rather to allow us to stay within the sort of found footageness of it. That's a tongue twister. But keeping you within that, In
that moment, it was also fun because they were playing with us. When she kept slightly crossing back and forth and the old woman's body is in the background, you're half expecting it to disappear at some point or be standing. I was waiting. You wait for that because it's like, is she going to come back up? Is she going to stand up? Is she going to zombie out? What are we about to see? As Angela just keeps blocking her. And it's not big movements, just slight movements as she's talking to Pablo. She's in frame. She's out of frame. She's in frame. And it was like, oh my God, is she going to get up? And she doesn't. So then when you come back, right? Because it's like, okay, she's going to stay down. And then they come back to the apartment and she's gone. It's like, oh, she didn't stay down.
May I say, I cannot comprehend, after all of this is occurring, after all these transformations, all these attacks, and this goes for every movie that has something similar to this, how do you see this girl, this little girl, jump up, attack things, run all the way up the stairs, you find her, and then you get your face right next to her face after witnessing what you just did? I'm sorry.
And you know the rules. They've already said it spreads via saliva, and he's extending his hand out to her, and he's turning away from her while his hand is extended. I'm like, bro, you're going to get what's coming to you because you know exactly how this spreads and you are playing with fucking fire. He just kept like extending his hand out to her and then turning to look to to Pablo. And it's like, what the fuck are you doing? And then he kneels down and gets face to face. And I'm like, this is your fault. You did this, bro.
1,000%. I was like, I'm sitting there like screaming at this fucking TV screen, being like, come on, dude.
You just got fucking told the rules.
Like, come on, man. Like, I think that's one of the things I do hate. It's one thing if, like I can kind of only a little give leeway if it's like your child or, like if there is a or a connection to the person infected, like, sure. You let yourself be vulnerable for a moment. You're looking at the eyes of what you think is your daughter. But my brother in Christ, this was a demonic child that just ran up that you have no relation to. Don't put your fucking face next to her.
Right? She hissed at you. She spit blood in her mother's face and then hissed at you and screamed up the stairs. That child's done. Do not approach it like that.
Crazy work. Crazy. Absolutely insane.
I do like that the health guy, whatever we want to call him, he was like not a hypocrite. As soon as he knew he was bit, he locked himself up and he threw away the key. He literally locked himself and threw away the key. He's like, get the fuck out of here. I do like that as much as he came in to do what people probably didn't want to do, he didn't hold himself to a different standard. He locked his ass up and was like, and I'm done.
Yep. This ain't gonna hold me, guys. Just fucking skedaddle.
Bit that guy's scalp. Did you hear the crunch? Ah, I was like, now that's a movie. You like the crunch I heard. It was a subtle crunch, but I'm like, oh.
Sound effects are always the best in these types of movies, for sure.
And it wasn't over the top. It was a soft, like you could almost miss it if you weren't fully, listening to it. I had it at full volume, so I heard it. But it was not like a loud, over the top, exaggerated crunch. It was just and I'm like, oh, he got his scalp. Very Lost Boys of it. All right, friends. That brings us to Train to Busan.
Yes.
2000, what did I say? 18? 2016. Sorry. Train to Busan, 2016.
So, this is my personal favorite film of the bunch. This is, for me, one of the times where I've cried in a film. One of my first times. The first time that I personally have seen that a zombie film can have so much emotional just story and characterization and the acting be so phenomenal to a point that these zombies are kind of just supplementary to everything else that's being put on. Like it all works in an interesting just story and cohesion. You have B plots that are kind of more the A plots, really. It's like, oh yeah, I'm dealing with a shitty husband who forgets his daughter's birthday, not the best guy in the world, thinks about himself, characterized as selfish, but obviously he gets his redemption arc and everything, and then you're shown the true selfish capitalist later on in the film. But it truly is the most beautiful film of the bunch for me. The starting off with the father and the relationship with the daughter, and kind of setting up the relationship with the two going forward. And then once they're on the train to go to Busan so that they can visit their mother, you get the zombie outbreak. It's very, very, very small. You're kind of maybe given glimpses of stuff occurring every now and then. He sees the buildings on fire. Oh, fuck, what's happening there, etc. Not really news report stuff. And the slow revelation going throughout that he himself is actually somehow responsible for the very thing occurring. And that's, again, just on the sort of bigger, more plot-related things. The setting for this being a train, and going from train to train station to train and trying to find that escape. You have the narrow confines. I talked about how the staircase was so claustrophobic and there leaves very barely any room to maneuver. The train does the same. You have, just a single walkway enough to fit one, maybe two people, and all these chairs in the way. You have all these doors and just truly, truly packing these cars up with so many infected, and really kind of making you feel that, oh, this is kind of futile in a way. Like, how are you actually supposed to get out when the thing is with you? It kind of like, I would say this movie to me is kind of like a combination of like a zombie film and Speed, the Keanu Reeves film, because it's like, this thing ain't stopping. But yeah, no, like we were given a sort of decently sized cast, but not an overwhelming amount that you had to keep in mind and care for. You have the father-daughter, you have the dude from the baseball team, or we'll say the dude and his pseudo girlfriend, and you have the other man and his pregnant wife, and then you have the two older ladies, and of course the selfish corporate dude. A solid cast.
Don't forget the homeless.
Oh,
man.
my homie, of course. How could I forget? And each person helped to show the characterization of the others. The old lady showing the selflessness of the daughter, the father's actions, whether it be on the train or just through the house, his selfishness, but not necessarily irredeemable. And the older ladies kind of representing the the older people in society who aren't necessarily have the same level of fighting chance as the younger folk. And of course you got to have the pregnant lady. It was such a good cast, and the acting is so good. And I truly cried twice. Both of them were at the end. The daughter, I think, was absolutely the best actor,
Perfectly cast.
bar none. Like, she, in the very beginning of the movie, you felt this sort of like, this is kind of, she's acting like the aloof child and just wandering around and kind of being the exposition lens for the audience of like, oh, there's a thing happening in the bathroom. Oh, no one's gonna actually tell me to not watch. All right, cool. There's a homeless man in here. But later on, showing us her struggle, and at the end, when you have the fight between her father and the older corporate dude, and just hearing her screams. You don't see her, or if you do, you barely see her in the train car, but she's locked in and she's screaming her lungs out while her dad, after her dad fought and goes to essentially just kill himself, or jump off the train, and revealing in the beginning that she wanted to sing the song, but she couldn't because her dad wasn't there for her to watch the performance. And then finally feeling the love of her father and singing that song through that tunnel at the end, and actually giving us the happy ending.
If we can call it that.
If we can call it that, but at least they didn't Night of the Living Dead their asses. The guy,
that was a callback to it, though.
It
right?
was right. It was a callback.
Like, seeing all that, I truly love this film so much. And the zombies, they had their own rules. They can't see in the dark. They have to only rely on sight or audio.
Auditory.
Thank you. Auditory stimulation. And they're grotesque. Some of them are doing the weird movement things, and those actors are really like trying to show you like, hey, these are not only relentless zombies, but they're also scary as fuck. You have them being so relentless that they're falling off of helicopters that they're hanging on. They're jumping off of buildings and just slamming onto train cars. Nothing stops them. They just keep going. You've got to go ahead and I'm a little more scatterbrained in this, and I think it's because I love it so much that I find it just a little difficult to focus on a single thing with this movie. But
I do love that the final fight for the father was with that. It was at Yonsuk, the older man, because I do feel that's a visual. It's very symbolic of this is who you were going to be. If this didn't happen, this apocalypse, if your daughter wasn't put at risk, if you weren't shown the mirror of how selfish you are, because at first he locked that guy out. And then it went from that to protecting the pregnant woman and trying to save as many people as he could. So he really did change fundamentally who he was and who he was becoming. So having him do that final battle with that guy is like, this is who you were going to be. And the beautiful just irony that that's who you were going to be is who ends up biting him.
Right.
But even as it's biting him and transforming him, which I thought was so fucking beautiful to see his eyes and the zombie slowly taking over as he's smiling and crying. It's like
Yeah.
he didn't die mourning something. He died coming back home to himself. And I
Well,
thought
and
that
think
was super powerful.
and his, there was that flashback is him and his baby daughter,
Mhm.
an infant daughter, and just that whole thing is it was just, yeah, he was reliving it, that moment when he was changing. But that wasn't the only time that happened, like that, where you were in the middle of changing, you're actually saving.
Yep.
The other character, Senghua, the big guy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
he was holding back the horde, with all of his might while he's changing. Like, oh, it was so powerful.
And he didn't succumb to it and attack. If you
No,
notice, even as he's holding them back and changing, they overrun him. And I'm assuming they finish him off. But we don't, and I'm glad that the filmmakers preserved that and didn't show him killing and doing all of that,
yeah,
because he died. Like you said, he's changing, but he's still holding them back. He's still holding on to the heart of him and who he is, because he is someone who is constantly trying to save and protect others. And it's such a beautiful movie. And I don't know. I feel like for me, I cannot. This is probably, as much as I don't like the effects zombie films have on me, this is one of my top horror films ever, because it is so beautifully shot. And the sound, like the sound design, the music composition, like when they first go, they're like, okay, we're going to save them. They're locked in the bathroom, and it's the baseball player, and it's he. I don't know how to say the names very well, so I don't want to slaughter it. But it's the big guy who just pummels through everybody, and I fucking love that, right? He's taped up his arms and he's ready to just have a fist fight with all these zombies. And they open the doors and they step through and the music starts. And I'm like, it's about to be zombie ass whooping time, and I love it. I'm here for it. And the guy's got the shield and the bat. And I'm like, this is so awesome. But then we also get another beautiful shot that was pretty iconic to me when the train station is going through. I think it's a tunnel and the light's blue. And it's just the dad, the pregnant woman, and his daughter. And they're all standing there looking at the cart as it's being taken over because the sister opened the door to be with her other sister. And it's just like beautiful shots, just beautiful shots. The aerial shot over the train when the zombies are holding on and they're piling onto each other and slowing the train car down, right? Because it's just one car at this point. And it's slowing it down because there's so many of them piling on. I'm like, fuck, this is glorious. Like there were so many amazing shots and tight scenes in this film that it just blown away. As much as I don't do zombie films on the regular, this is one of my favorites for sure. And I'm with you, Nazeeh. I cried like a fucking baby multiple times throughout this film, and I still will cry. I cry thinking about it. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, he's just thinking about her turning into a zombie, and then off he goes. But and then when she's singing the song, because the words of the song are about seeing you again until we see each other again. And it's like, oh God, my heart can't take anymore.
Yeah. It's such a powerful just scene. It's such a powerful movie. Like I mentioned earlier, my friend is staying with me, and so I was putting it on the TV and doing a rewatch, and very similar to you, Ashley. They were like, I don't do zombie movies. But you know what? I've heard this one's good. I'll go ahead and I'll watch this one with you. And I was like, all right, cool. And cried. Like
Right.
they're crying, I'm crying. This is one of those like funny, like just pass the tissue kind of moments.
Just
But
right.
it truly, it's just enough praise cannot be given to all the actors, but especially that child actor, because they really, like, I think throughout the movie in the beginning, it was kind of a standard good child performance, but it was the emotional scenes that she really drove home and just swayed you. Like, you hear her voice cracking, and like the amount of time that she's screaming in the background while the conflict is happening with her father going to jump off the train. It's going on for so long. That girl had to have blown her voice out just screaming. She probably almost fainted with how much she was doing it. And then
It worked for the song, though. Her voice was cracking.
Oh, no.
So beautiful.
Oh my God. The cracked just voice, the tears, barely composing it. I was like, oh my God.
Clinging to the pregnant lady. That scene, by the way, that shot when the pregnant woman's holding her and she's crying into her and he's watching them. It's like, oh, there's just something really beautiful about that, because that's like a surrogate mom. And I think in that moment he realized that too, because they can't get a hold of mom. Mom's not okay, clearly. And you've got this little girl just clinging to this woman, and this woman is protecting her. You think early on, you think about when they leave the train station, what is the first thing they do? As they're running back up from the military zombies that are attacking, the big guy pummels the zombie away from the little girl, and the pregnant woman picks her up and takes her. It's like an automatic. They are protecting this little girl. And and the fact that he named the baby, that's the last thing he says to her. He gives her the name of the baby. Oh, I'm gonna cry again.
Yeah, no, it's so good. And yeah, I really don't have much more to add because of how wonderfully executed everything was. Like, it really legitimately just, at points you forget you're watching a horror film because the drama is just that well done.
It's great drama. But like we talked about, it has callbacks to the original Nightmare, or the original
Night of
the Living Dead. Yes, and so it takes what started it all, and it builds, right? Just like all these other ones, and it does it in such a way that's new and fresh. And that's what I love about like a closed case, just one movie, this is it, right? I love that about zombie films, is that you can, and I think those are the ones that are most successful, or the ones that can hit you so hard in just a one movie thing. It doesn't have to be a trilogy or anything like that. And I think that's what The Walking Dead for me suffered with, is that it was good for a little while, but like it just kind of lost its luster because you get invested so much. And then like, I think what made this film so good is because it called back to the originals, but it also added to it, creative with the darkness and everything else, the way it was shot, being on a train, all of that. Like it's cool because it's a moving location that's isolated. And they do have to, they are allowed to get off, but then they come back on again, right? Because there's no other place to go, right? And so like all of that, and going from cart to cart, right? Going from different cart. I think all of that was so well done. Just all the little things, like using a cell phone, his stupid ringtone. He's like, that's a really lame ringtone. He's like, what do you mean?
I like that they heckled him about that. That he's like, well, how do I change it?
So yeah, there's moments of levity too. It's great. Like it gives you a little bit of everything, but it does it in a really smart way. And I think, and yeah, I mean, my only pushback that I didn't like is Yeon Suk, the corporate guy that I just don't like. I mean, it's fine. They used him to like basically kill everybody. But like, I feel like that was a little too much. It's like, okay, yeah, they used him to kill this main character. Okay, now they used him to kill this main character. It was like every main character was his fault. And it sucks. Like, I'm like, I just wish it was, I don't know, maybe a little bit of somebody else's fault too, not just all him.
But it makes sense.
I get it.
It made sense because once they're dwindling down to the numbers,
right,
he is getting into that dog eat dog. It's you or me. It's you. It's you. It's you. Now it's you. And it made sense. I mean, they were coming at him, but I did think it was poetic with the baseball player and his girlfriend because she opted to leave this what they thought was the safe group to go be with him in the might be infected car, right? She's like, I'm going with you. I'm staying with you. So I thought it was really sweet that when she got bit, he's like, I'm staying with you. And it's just like, that was, like you said, Nazeeh, like these are supposed to be B storylines, but they're carrying a punch with them. They are still carrying very strong messages and symbols. And I thought that was really nice what they did with those two. Just because she opted, I'm going to go with you, even if one of you are infected. And then as soon as she's infected, he wouldn't leave her.
Yeah.
And he can swing a baseball bat too.
He can.
I loved the commentary with the older lady when they kick everybody out, that they're like, the newcomers need to go in that cart, and they're like, they won't survive, and they're like, whatever, and they push them through there and they yell at them and they're getting nasty with them, right? They all get pushed into that cart and she's just listening to them being nasty, and she's just like, what are we even fighting for? This is what we've, like, her commentary on just humans, right? How they treat each other in time, especially of need. And I love her. She just walks right over and lets them in. She's like, y'all gonna get what you're getting because you deserve this. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
her sister looks so lost and confused.
It was so sad. And yeah, I loved that just sort of poetic justice. Obviously, the cartoonishly evil corporate man didn't get his time in that moment. But it was nice to kind of just see that, yeah, you all like rallied against these folks who are very clearly not infected, and just went through hell to make it here. And then on top of that, this fucking dude being like, he's bit. It's like, dude,
all because he called them out for doing the exact same thing that he did.
It was, yeah, and yeah, those old ladies, like, they weren't in it for too long in terms of the movie, but like just sitting there and showing you kind of like the moral obligation that we have to one another, especially in society and especially as we age. You know, the little girl mentioning how like, hey, I gave her my seat because Granny's knees is always hurting and I didn't want her to also be hurting. And, you know, just this fundamental, it doesn't have to be us at each other's throats. We should be helping each other, lifting each other, and having these various kind of vignettes laced throughout to give that feeling of, hey, if we ever actually end up in this position, be better.
Do better.
Do
Or
better.
Granny's going to let the zombies in to take you all.
Well, and that's common in Korea too. Like I actually lived in Korea for a little while, and so that was, yeah, I mean, giving up their seats for people on the train was very common, right? For the elderly. Like old people would give up their seat for even older people. Like that kind of thing. So is very much tied into their culture as well. This whole, the fact that it is on a train, because you spend a lot of your time on trains over there. But yeah, like for them to turn it into a whole movie where it's where that succeeded so well. That's the thing, that the fact that they were able to do it from a train and make it so compelling the entire time. There wasn't like a lull. I didn't feel any kind of lull the whole time. And you're just like, man, how could you do that in such a small spot, you know?
Well, and they used almost every aspect of that train. I mean, even the luggage containers when they're crawling over to get over the zombies. I'm like, oh my God, that's terrifying. Like the bathrooms, like every single part of the train was used. And I thought that was super creative. I loved it. I did not love that the zombies are crashing through windows in 50s and thousands, and our poor little homeless guy got flooded on by them. But I was hoping he'd make it.
He was so scared.
He was, but he got pretty far. He did.
Yeah.
He was a hero too. And she said that. Remember when at the beginning, callback, when the guy's like, stay in school or else that's you. Look what that guy did. He sacrificed himself to save an innocent child and this pregnant woman. Like, come on. We should all hope to be as good-hearted as that.
Yeah.
So my one tiny complaint with this beautiful, almost perfect movie. 99.9% perfect. When the movie started, the guy hits the deer, drives off, the deer reanimates, and I think, oh dear. And yet we never see an infected animal again.
Yes.
That was my one small complaint, because if humans are running crazy predator muck, wreaking havoc, where are the animals? Because they're infectable too.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's exactly what I was going to bring up. I was like, let's talk about the deer. Because the deer, yeah, we haven't seen that. And that was the opening shot. It's like, here's this zombie deer. All right, let's see something else. Yeah, you're right. They should have shown something, at least another animal randomly, like outside when they go outside, like somebody getting attacked by something, and then the horde.
Yeah, it's I get that they were doing that as like a very quick establish part of the rules immediately, because it's easier. It's a lot faster to show than to tell. But yeah, like you mentioned, and it's like, okay, we get it. Corpses can reanimate, but you could have just hit a human and a dude just being reckless and just keeps driving off. But then this guy like reanimates instead. Like they could have shown it out, or they didn't just have to show it. Period.
Well, it started with the deer. It was released from the factory, and then it infected the deer, and the deer presumably, the deer spread that infection. But my problem was that if the deer was patient zero, we should see a whole lot more infected animals attacking, right? Because I'm assuming a zombie deer bit a zombie person for it to jump, because it's being spread through the bites. So I'm just like, well, okay, we know the deer had to have bit somebody, a person, or it bit an animal that bit a person, whatever. But I would have loved to have seen where the rest of the animals that were infected by this.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah. Well, I'm trying to think of what animals would be even in Korea besides like the deer, right? Like, I'm not sure what's native there.
A lot of animals. I'm sure you've got squirrels and other things. Birds.
Rabbits.
Oh, I
all
guess
that.
maybe the deer can't get the birds. But still, if they're picking on each other, right? They're biting each other and consuming each other, as
Right.
nature goes. I don't know. I was confused as to why there weren't more deer that were infected. Now, this is not a standalone movie. There is a prequel to this, and there is a sequel to this. The prequel is an animated film that kind of shows more of the onset of the zombie apocalypse and how it spreads. But I don't know if we get the answer to the animals on that one. I think it's just already in the humans.
Yeah.
But we get to see what that first, the woman who comes onto the train, we kind of see what leads up to that. I have not watched the sequel, but I think it's like a standalone. It doesn't incorporate any of our original characters. John's like, don't do it.
Nope.
Okay,
I
well,
didn't like
cool.
it.
Then I'm
Yeah.
not rushed to watch it.
Yeah, we're talking about Peninsula,
definitely
right?
Yes.
Yes, I haven't watched that one.
So
I
fun
didn't like it.
fact.
You were in it?
Kind of actually, yeah. The studio I used to work at, we did the dub for that actually. Yeah, for Well Go USA, we worked on that. So I am actually in the dub of the movie. Fun
What
fact,
are you in?
I'm not one of the important characters. This is like I just did like tertiary things for my
With
friend
the
who's a
zombie sounds?
director. I did do some zombie sounds actually, yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, just throwing it out there. Like I do have like kind of a tie to this thing.
Full circle moment. Yay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Hey, speaking of which, Nazeeh, tell us about what you. No, I'm just kidding. So, those are our 4 films, and I do love that each one of them had a different way of how you can become a zombie. The reason I love that is because we have had discussions on what is considered a zombie and what is not. For example, some people don't consider 28 Days Later a zombie film, or Resident Evil a zombie film. However, those are fucking zombies. If a demon can cause a zombie apocalypse, then you know what? So can an infection. None of the transformations that we saw in Train to Busan for our main characters did they actually die.
No.
So, is this a zombie film?
Yes.
Take that, bitches. I just proved you wrong. 28 days later, zombies.
I always thought 28 Days Later was a zombie film.
John
And
doesn't think so.
I am
I don't
still
like
mad
the
that
movie.
that wasn't included in this because that's that's maybe my favorite zombie film
I'm
of all
happy
time.
that it wasn't included. because
That's a different subsection. Because for me, 28 Days Later, I would pair with Resident Evil, and I would pair with, or like group with, More Infection Spread, I Am Legend, stuff like that. Although I guess those are, but I don't know. There's
It's all
just,
zombies, though. You just said that, right?
I agree, but that's just like you have different demon films and you have different possession films. Like, I think there are also sub genres within the genre. However, John, take that. It's a zombie.
Okay, that's fine.
They didn't die. Like our
No, they
main,
didn't.
yeah, both dads, the guy, the big dude that was like Hulk smashing him, he didn't die.
No.
It just took him over as he was holding the door. And then, main workaholic dad was, I got to learn how to say these characters' names. I'm awful.
So cool.
Yeah, he didn't technically die either. He was thinking about his daughter and it took over. So
Even the very first girl that boarded the train, she
was
wasn't
seizing.
dead. She was seizing in
Yeah.
the middle of transforming.
Yep. So
And that, right.
these are zombies, then you don't have to die to be a zombie.
No.
Ah, look at that long game. Our listeners know we have had hot topics on this conversation.
We've had arguments. We're like,
Yeah.
are they zombies? Are they not zombies? Is it an infection? What is it? Right? It's all the same. It's all the same kind of rules. It's just how they get there, right? It's like the tool for the chaos is what it is, more than anything else. But the chaos can be whatever you want, right? And that's part of the fun of these zombie films, is that you can add different things if you want. You can make zombies docile when it's dark, right? Which is awesome. Or you could do whatever you want, and I love that. Any zombie film, and make a zombie film. Like anybody out there, if you have an idea, do it. Make a zombie film, but make it your own. Follow 3 or 4 of the main rules, and then just go crazy with it. And that's the fun of it, because you can do whatever you want with these. And I'll watch it for sure.
Or don't follow the rules. Make up your own new rules. That's what
Okay.
George Romero did. That's what Dawn of the Dead 2004 did. And each one of these films made up their own rules. Wreck, fucking demon possession turned into a zombie. It's zombie spread through infected saliva because of a demon. I don't know how, but there you go.
Oh my! I will say that this movie, though, literally made me yell at the screen because it made me cry. I said, "Fuck you, movie!" Turned it off for a minute, had to go cry, and then come back and watch it, and cried some more. So I'm like, "Fuck you, you stupid movie!" But I loved it. It
Fuck
was
you,
great.
movie. Fuck you for
Hell
making me
yeah.
feel my feelings.
How dare
Right? Like, you're supposed to be a scary movie, not make me fucking cry, asshole. But whatever.
You're reanimating my heart.
Yeah.
So if you had to add an honorable mention zombie film that you would recommend to Nazeeh to continue the zombie education of maybe something you think he hasn't watched, what would it be?
Keep going with the Wreck movies. I don't know.
Finish it out. Learn more about the
Yeah.
world, the demon
I
zombie
liked them.
world.
And we covered, Wreck in one of our previous podcasts, and I ended up loving it so much that I showed you about the whole set
Yeah.
on Blu-ray. So yeah, keep going.
I would recommend, I know John doesn't like it, I guess, but Return of the Living Dead. Return of the Living Dead is one of my all-time favorite zombie movies from
That's
the
a love
80s.
story.
It's amazing. I think it's great. There's the Tar Man. You don't know about the Tar Man yet, and he is crazy, scary, goofy looking, but it's fun. It's a fun one. It's got that 80s like real like almost like rock vibe to it. There's comedy. There's yeah, like the zombies talk. Like it's good. It's good. It's fun. It's definitely, and it's there's just the music that's added to it. There's oh man, I can't give it away. You just have to watch it. I would say,
Sure. No, I'll put it on the list.
Put it on
I
the
got
list.
I got you.
Yeah.
So Wreck, the suspense and the tension and the characters reminded me a lot of a more recent film that I would absolutely recommend if you haven't watched it, and that's Evil Dead Rise.
Okay.
Ooh.
All taking place within
Such
the
a good one.
apartment.
Oh.
Yeah, definitely a lot scarier, a lot meaner. It is not a found footage film. It definitely has some body horror in it, so I think it would be right up your alley if you haven't watched it.
Yeah, no. I'll put that on the top.
Hell yeah,
So-
that's definitely a must watch. Good one.
I do like Evil Dead Rise. So,
Yeah.
all right, guys, this has been fun.
It was.
Yes,
It has.
yes.
It is.
I am going to have hopefully 0 nightmares because fuck zombies.
But
There is
we
no
have
hoping.
part 2 coming up, so come on.
Those are funny zombies.
They still might fuck.
Actually, I think
Maybe.
you like zombies more than you're saying, because the way you were talking about it, you were passionate, and that's great. Like with the movies that we watched, you were into it, and I think we all are, and that was great. Like trying to get a word in here and there because we're all like so excited to talk about all of the different things from these movies, right? Like, but that's what it does to you. It brings out, the liveliness. You want more. I don't know.
Look, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think zombie movies are fantastic. I think some of the best horror movies are zombie films. They just fuck with me
Yeah.
harder
Yeah.
than any other subgenre of horror. Those give me legit heart racing, terrifying, can't go back to sleep for a few hours nightmares. So that's something I got to reconcile. Maybe I got to talk to a therapist and be like, why do the zombies fuck me up so much? But it's not that I don't like the films. I think that some of the best storylines happen in the zombie subgenre. It's just a matter of what it does to me. I turn into a little weenie.
Well, it's okay because you're not going to have any nightmares. Everything's going to be good.
Yeah, sure. I'm going to have to put a palate cleanser on.
Believe in the me that believes in you.
I will. I just have to put like a super, super, super palate cleanser on before I go to bed. Like something awful. Maybe I'll watch Step Brothers. But Nazeeh, do you have anything you'd like to shout out to? Any social media? Any upcoming projects?
You can find me at Nazeeh Tarsha on Twitter, X, Instagram. In terms of projects, I got nothing that I can talk about, so I'm just gonna go ahead and shout out Nick Apostolides in Resident Evil 9. Go play it; it's fun. He's awesome. Leon Kennedy is sexy, and also, if you haven't already, and this is the first time you're tuning into 3Haunted podcast, make sure to check out other videos / audio podcasts. They are awesome. If you're here because of me, I've got a lot that you can see. And if you are here because of the fantastic crew here, well, you've got 6 seasons, baby.
I love you. You're so awesome. You just give me the best sound bites. I just need to clip them and put them up there. That was funny. We got bites.
Because the zombies. Ha.
Nazombeeh has the best bites. All right, guys. Do we have any final thoughts before we wrap this amazing fucking episode up?
I think we covered all the things. I think just get out there, watch more zombie films, and try not to, and get into the games too. The games are like that. The movies will lead you to the games, and then you have an addiction, and then enjoy it. That's all I'll say on that.
And if you have any recommendations of zombie films that you think maybe we haven't seen, drop us a line, comment on our posts. We are always open to movie suggestions. But if you dare recommend something mainstream, I will kick you. I will find you and I will kick you. Just kidding. We love you guys. We love you, listeners. Thank you for bearing with us for 6 seasons. We've got so many more seasons to go, but we appreciate that you're joining us in this ride. BJ Segura, do you want to bring us home?
Absolutely. And again, thank you all for tuning in to this episode of 3Haunted Podcast with your hosts. I'm BJ Segura.
I'm Ashley Lunar Goddess.
I'm John Thomas.
If you have any questions, comments, or episode suggestions, please feel free to email us at 3hauntedpodcast@gmail.com. If you haven't done so already, please like, follow, and subscribe to all our social media. You don't want to miss our amazing guests like Nazeeh.
And do not forget to check out 3hauntedpodcast.com, where you'll find all of our past and current season episodes, as well as guest information and all kinds of awesome merch.
Until next time.